What's up, and welcome to the Weekenders. This is the show where we talk about football. I'm Max, joined by Bobby, Lexi. This is really a great point in the year because um, we've done free agency. We just got through the draft last week, and now we're moving on into all the stuff that comes between now and pretty much training camp, which is just the time where you can get excited about your team while things kind of lay dormant until about August. So we're gonna let you guys know what we'll be doing in the meantime because we're still gonna give you guys content, but we'll give you guys a preview of what we're gonna be doing at the end of the show. But to start off, uh, let's recap this NFL draft, which I want to use the adjective crazy, but to honestly, like it wasn't that like wild. Like there were a couple of kind of like shockers and head scratchers, but I feel like this year was pretty tame compared to previous years in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
I feel like there was like that early bombshell, which was the Houston Texans trade up to 3, which was pretty wild. And then you had Levis not get drafted until the second round, and then that was pretty much it. Uh, just kind of two bigger things, but the Levis thing wasn't. I don't think it was surprising to us. We had him on our mock draft like very very low, so we were fading Will Levis from the start. But yeah, really just those two moments I think were pretty crazy. It's crazy to start out. Didn't really follow the rest of the way through though.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked how far Carter fell because I was kind of sensing the Lions wouldn't take him, but when he like fell even farther than that, I was like surprising. I just did not see that coming at all. It's probably my biggest shock.
Yeah, I think in the mock draft we had him going to like Seattle at 5. Like I
Hmm.
feel like you know a lot of folks were kind of saying like he's the most talented player in the draft potentially, definitely one of the most talented defensive players, but it all sort of depended on what teams were willing to really, I guess, put on their plate in terms of the off the field stuff. And then you also think about the position. Like Aaron Donald has changed the way we thought about a defensive tackle, but I think the league is still like sort of devalued the defensive tackle position. Like it's like nice to have if you have a great one like Aaron Donald, but like not necessarily as valuable as like a defensive end or a cornerback. So I kind of feel like those things in tandem, like the off the field stuff and the like defensive tackle position kind of being like not that valuable, kind of made him slide down a little bit. I will say though, I was watching like a show, and they made it a very good point. And we'll get into this as we kind of talk about who we felt like did well in the draft. But the Eagles putting Jalen Carter on a team with Georgia Bulldogs teammates was phenomenal process by them. I mean, I'm, you take somebody who has got off the field issues, and you say, all right, we can provide a great environment for this kid if we put him with his former teammates at Georgia. So like I feel like that strategy was really smart by them, and obviously everyone's raving about the Eagles, but um, it'll be interesting to see how that works. We've all heard the Philadelphia Bulldogs jokes. Like they've got a lot of great players from that Georgia defense that has been terrorizing college football for the last couple of years. So um, yeah, the Eagles are going to be a threat in the NFC, but that's pretty obvious. But um, so basically, the way we're gonna break this down for our draft recap, I feel like a lot of people give out grades and like whatever. I feel like that's kind of dumb because honestly, like you can't really like reevaluate the draft until the next couple of years anyway. So I didn't want to be like just another show that was just giving out draft grades to random teams. Instead, we're gonna break it up by the AFC and NFC and talk about one team that we thought got better through the draft, and maybe one team whose draft we didn't like, and then we're going to talk about pick our draft steal, and then the overall team that we felt like won the NFL draft. So I figured that's a lot like smarter of an approach than like trying to give out grades. And I'm sure everyone's tired of like reading draft grades anyway. So let's jump right in. Let's start with the NFC. Um, I'll yeah, Bobby. I'll let Bobby go first. Tell me one team that you thought got better after the draft.
It's tough because the team I feel like had the best draft is also the team I feel like got better. We just talked about them, so I'm gonna kind of pass on a little bit here and really think about it. I think honestly, got to give love to the Detroit Lions. I thought they bolstered their roster pretty solidly. Jameer Gibbs, a great ad, even with especially with DeAndre Swift heading out. I think that was great. Loved the Hendon Hooker pickup. I think that's a real solid late round, high upside type of guy. Later round, high upside type of guy. I don't know. I feel like across the board, they really got pretty solid.
For sure. I'm very excited. I want to say my team too, but I also want to say it's like the Eagles got even better. And I hate it because they already were, coming off of that Super Bowl and made themselves better. And they are going to be scary going into next season. So, as much as I'm so pumped for our draft, it's like you got to give it to Philly, man, because they really, ran away with this.
Yeah, Philly getting all those Georgia players is like how Golden State will just, I don't know, get Jordan Poole out of nowhere, or they almost got Josh Giddey a couple years ago, and that would have just torn the league up.
It would
It's
actually
unfair.
it would actually be as if the Warriors had did it right and taken LaMelo and Franz Wagner in the drafts. Like that's what the Eagles just did. Like the Warriors
Yeah.
are doing fine because Steph is still amazing and Dre, and they're all still good. But and the young players are okay, but they don't really play a lot. But like yeah, if the Warriors got LaMelo and Franz, then this would kind of be like what the Eagles just did.
How are we letting the Eagles just keep getting away with this? It's unreal.
I know. It's not fair.
Well, the reports are there's some GMs that are pretty upset about Howie Roseman. It's just like
Well, how can you be mad
draft
though?
better.
That's how you play. Yeah, that's how you play the cards. You got them or you don't. So
Yeah,
you got to
like
give the man props.
that's just weird to me. Just draft better. I mean, it's not there's not really much you can
Do
really say.
better. Be better next
Um,
year.
Literally everyone was ahead of them, like except for the Chiefs. What are we doing here?
well, this was tough because I feel like um, there was like a lot of teams that um, you know we could talk about in the NFC um, that did some interesting things in the draft. Um, so the NFC team that I think did the best in the draft or got better in the draft, I got to give it to the Seattle Seahawks. Excuse me. Um, I felt like Seattle was a team that everyone thought they could go so many different ways in the draft. They could be a candidate for like a Will Levis or Hidden Hooker because there was kind of questions around. Okay, Geno had a good year. Are they going to continue to be committed to him moving forward? Um, we talked about them possibly being a Jalen Carter destination because um, Pete Carroll doesn't mind taking guys with off the field stuff. There was a lot of different ways that they could go, and I felt like the Seattle Seahawks um, really kind of got a lot of players to complement a team that went to the playoffs last year, and sometimes not sometimes the if it's not broke, don't fix an approach can work and make your team better. So I thought obviously the Seahawks were the first team to get a wide receiver. Um, Jackson Smith and Jigba from Ohio State. I thought that was a great pick and a great way to support Geno moving forward. Him next to DK Metcalf is going to be fun to watch. I thought getting Devin Witherspoon was a great pick. Um, Everyone's kind of trying to call it the Legion of Boom 2.0. let's wait and see with that. But I think that was a cool pick by them. And then drafting the running back as well, even though um, they have um, Kenneth Walker the third. I thought going out and getting Zach Charbonnet from UCLA was a great move for them. And so I really think the Seahawks is going to be a team where in the NFC West it's going to be tough, but you can't really count them out of the playoff race based on um, the draft they had. I thought they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so staying in the NFC, let's go to um, one team in the NFC whose draft you did not like.
Okay.
I'll get this thing started. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals. I will say I like the idea of trading that number 3 pick for more capital. I think they did a good job with that trade with the Texans. I feel like they got us, especially getting the Texans number 1 for next year. That's a very, very valuable pick. I like that. Specifically the Texans and not the Browns. That's a good deal. That being said, if we're talking about the actual players they picked, I feel like they had a pretty underwhelming draft. Just starting from the jump, Paris Johnson Jr. was a bit of a stretch at 6. I feel like I obviously it might be a little too much to trade back again, but let's be honest, 6 was a stretch for Paris Johnson. I don't think they really did anything all that flashy. A little bit underwhelming. I mean, especially when you enter this draft all excited with, number 3, maybe bringing in a Will Anderson, whatever the possibility might hold. You kind of have to wait a year to see how that progresses, how the Texans are. And, ultimately we won't be able to fully judge this draft until those picks mature. You see what happens with that. But at the end of the day, I if I'm talking right now this year, a little bit disappointed. I don't think they really made a massive impact this particular draft in Kansas City.
Yeah. I have to say, as much as I loved the Niners going after some Michigan players, I just was kind of underwhelmed with the approach they took. Especially, Moody at 99 is awesome. He's like one of the best kickers ever, too. But I just feel like they could have filled some more holes where they didn't. And it just was not as kind of exciting as I was expecting for them to be.
Yeah, I thought. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we'll see with the Niners if they have another situation where they run out of quarterbacks. They did draft Braden Willis, who OU basically put in instead of Davis Bevel, because Davis Bevel was that bad. So if you need someone to just kind of run the Wildcat, he has experience. So if they have another nuclear quarterback situation, they're set.
True.
Okay, so the team that draft I did not like this year in the NFC. I'm gonna go for the Packers. I just don't understand. I mean, if you watch some Caleb Williams tape and you're just gonna phone it in this year, why not? I mean, the NFC North is supposed to be better, and you're not sure on Jordan Love. That's why you gave him the 1 year contract. But I mean, this draft was just like really head scratching for me. I didn't understand it at all. Their pick in the first round was Luke Van Ness out of Iowa at defensive end. Nice player. Not saying that that wasn't going to be that he's not going to work out for them, but at that point in the draft, you're at 13. Like, you really need to support your quarterback and Jordan Love. So you've got your pickup tight ends. There hadn't been a tight end taken yet. You've got the wide receivers. They hadn't been taken yet. Like, I feel like, especially with their offensive coach and Matt LaFleur, I just don't understand why they didn't take a shot at getting a pass catcher for Jordan Love. Or if you don't believe in Jordan Love, whoever's coming next is still going to need talent on the field. So I didn't really understand that. I know they picked up I know in the second round they went after Luke Musgrave from Oregon State, but again, I feel like at that spot, you had some options right there in front of you. I mean, we'll see. I saw some good feedback. It seemed like a lot of people were excited when they drafted Jaden Reed from Michigan State. So and they
Yeah, I
got.
was not happy with that one.
I
I was like,
mean,
no, I don't want to face him twice a year.
yeah. So I mean, like we'll see. I could be wrong. They could have found some value with some talent later on in the draft, but I just feel like that first round pick really just like left a bad taste in my mouth for the rest of their draft. Also like, you know, they drafted two tight ends, which was like kind of
That that
weird.
that's the epitome though of what Green Bay has done. They never gave Aaron weapons. They never really gave Favre weapons. It was like it's just not like a focus for them for whatever reason. But for as
Yeah,
much as they did draft, I think it's more than Aaron ever got. So I'm sure he was pretty salty watching it.
yeah, and low key an interesting pick. Sean Clifford in the fifth round, like.
I know.
Baffling. Baffling.
I know. I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried about. More worried about the Bears than the Packers. Let's just say that.
Hey,
Sean
yeah,
Clifford might be closer to retirement than Aaron Rodgers is. That's how old the dude is.
I, I,
Ridiculous.
I really think somebody in the Packers front office, instead of scouting, they were just watching Caleb Williams film. Like they were like, all right, like this year is gonna be a mulligan. Let's move on. So,
Yeah.
gosh, so yeah, that's that. So, all right, let's move on to the AFC. Uh, Lexi, go ahead first. I'm gonna pick on you. One team in the AFC you think got better in the draft.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of intrigued with Kansas City's draft. Especially that like Rasheed Rice or whatever out of SMU. I feel like as I was watching some of his stuff after he was drafted, I'm like, well, I think that Pat Mahomes can make him like elite. I think he's going to be probably a good weapon for him, and especially like losing, you know, Tyree or whatever they did last season. I think that's a good fill for them. So I like it. They're already good. Just reloading in places they needed, and I think they did a good job in the draft.
I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought they were pretty killer, honestly. Um, you give Pickett a little bit of help with Broderick Jones. Obviously, the feels with Joey Porter Jr. getting drafted to the same franchise his dad played at. That was excellent as well. So I thought it was just a classic, just Pittsburgh draft that stays to their identity. It looks solid, bolsters that team. And I gotta say, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, Steelers were a popular draft winner as well. Um, I feel like you guys both said good teams. This might surprise some people, and I might get a little bit of hate for this take, but I thought the Tennessee Titans had a really nice draft. Like I thought Tennessee taking um, Skoronski from Northwestern with that first pick, getting some protection for Tannehill or whoever the quarterback is moving forward. I thought that was a great pick. Um, and then you end up going in the second round and grabbing Will Levis. Like I, I understand all the jokes or whatever like about Will Levis falling and seems that a lot of the internet is for whatever reason like hitting on Will Levis, but you know, um, second round guy. Like second round pick is a pretty important pick, but it's not a first round pick, right? So you get blue chip offensive lineman. You grab, excuse me, um, you grab Levis in the second round. See what we can do. Um, you have a now you've established a backup plan for Ryan Tannehill, and because you got Will Levis in the second round, there's no pressure to start him right now. If Ryan Tannehill stinks it up, then yeah, the crowd might be crying to see Will Levis, sure. But if Ryan Tannehill plays well, there's no pressure. You let Will Levis develop, and there were a lot of people like, well. I feel so bad for Malik Willis. Like I, I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like the discourse around Malik Willis last year was it blew my mind. Like this kid, like yeah, he's got a great arm, but let's be honest, folks. Like he went to Liberty,
Yes,
didn't play
I
great
was.
competition. He played a game against Ole Miss and looked like the second best quarterback on the field. Matt Corral outplayed him in that situation, and he got a chance, this year to, show what he had not only on the field in Tennessee but in practice. And they brought in Josh Dobbs off the couch. You know what I'm saying, to like to back up whenever Ryan Tannehill got out. So that should tell you, like, yeah, like I'm sure Malik Willis is a great kid, but maybe he's not really starting quarterback material, at least not at this point. So I think Tennessee did a great job, particularly in the first two rounds. And then as you go on, they got some running back help for, to take some pressure off of Derrick Henry with Tajay Spears. Um, grab some more pass catchers in the fifth and seventh round, and then got another tackle in the sixth round. So shout out to the Titans. I'm just not realizing as I'm reading their draft picks they didn't get any defense, but but I thought the Titans got better, to be honest. And I mean the whole AFC South, like that's going to be an interesting division to watch for sure.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Texans. I love the swings they made. I really do like going for Anderson there. I thought that was just big time. Let's
I
show
held
up.
my
Let's make a
breath.
big move.
Yeah, I held my breath because I thought, oh, is my gosh, is it Brad Holmes doing it? And then I was like, sad. I mean, I'm happy how things turned out, but watching that like live at Ford Field, I was like, please. But
Because there was a
no.
bit of confusion. It happened pretty quick,
Yeah, it was really quick.
but
But it was good for
yeah,
them though. They needed to build that.
yeah. They gave up a lot of draft capital. I totally get that, but also at the same time, like I feel like that's a worthy investment to try to win. I don't want to say win now because they had what 2 wins last year, but like really try and get some some solid good football back in Houston again. I love the Xavier Hutchinson pick as well. Great player out of Iowa State. Definitely slept on because plays at Iowa State, but very solid. I feel like also adding more Alabama talent in Henry Tuatoa, big time stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Um, all right, so let's stick while you're on the mic, Bobby. AFC team whose draft you did not like.
AFC team that I really didn't like. This one is tricky because, like, I guess you could say the Jets, but they got better because of the Aaron Rodgers thing. But in terms of the draft, they didn't really do much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Los Angeles Chargers because they drafted like a team that watched the college football playoff just the first game. We're like, wow, TCU's awesome, and then just picked all TCU guys. They drafted like I don't know, like their owner is like secretly a TCU donor or something. Didn't watch the national championship in their own stadium, that sort of thing. Uh, I I didn't hate it. I think it's a little. I don't know. I think it's just a little silly. Just how many TCU people because I liked the frogs were good this year. Don't get me wrong. I thought they were very solid. It's just a little too much.
Yeah.
The Chargers got three TCU players. Their second round pick was from USC, and then a Clemson, and then like a Washington State and a Boise State. I feel like outside of the Clemson pick, who like Clemson's always on national TV, so that's
They'll be
easy.
like,
But
thanks, Michigan. Thanks.
yeah,
Thanks for that.
I feel like it was. I feel like Chargers, like you said, Bobby Chargers just went TCU, West Coast kids, Clemson. Their scouts didn't really travel that far this year, I
They're just like, ooh, that Max Duggan kid sure has some moxie.
guess.
That that's just. I think that's a silly pick.
All right,
He's also
yeah,
80. He's ancient.
Yeah.
It's funny. Well, they needed to replace Chase Daniel, Bobby. So
You well,
yeah.
okay, good point. Yeah, Chase Daniel, man, I the memes about Chase Daniel in college are like grainy. They run at like I don't know 420p or something 480. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember like in '07 when they're making Chase Daniel picks his nose memes. Yeah, billion years ago. Anyways,
All right, Lexi, give us your team whose draft you didn't like in the AFC.
Yeah, it's got to be the Patriots for me. So, yeah, Gonzalez was a solid get. I really like that we kind of hopped up and got Branch before um, before Bill could. And I think that was like a big play. But other than that, it was kind of just like questioning, and that's kind of how he's been lately. But a lot of the picks it makes sense, and it's like, okay, well, you don't have Tom Brady anymore, so what are you really doing to build this team and make it more competitive and do better than you did last year? But I think it was really underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm gonna pile on. The Patriots draft is like terrible. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's like, did you watch your own offense last year? And I see Patriots fans like, oh yeah, we got guys that could stop Stephon Diggs and yada yada, and I'm like, okay, great, but the name of the point of football is to score more points than the other team, and right now you cannot do that.
No.
like Matt Jones, and Juju Smith-Schuster are not like scoring on anybody. Like they had a chance to get the next Gronk and Michael Meyer and Dalton Kincaid. They had a
Yeah.
chance to get one of the receivers. Like no one picked a receiver until 3 picks after them. They could have gotten in Jigba. I'm like, okay, congrats. You can stop. You can hopefully stop Diggs or whoever the Jets and Dolphins are throwing at you, but you've got no offensive support at all, and you need, at the end of the day, you need weapons. And my argument is my argument is Bill Belichick is a defensive genius, so I would rather take more talent on the side of the ball that I'm not great at, which is offense, and take less talent on defense, because if I'm Bill Belichick, I know I can coach these guys up. So,
Mhm.
okay, congrats. You got Christian Gonzalez in the first round, top 10 prospect, whatever. Sure, I hope he pans out that way. But, Bill Belichick has gotten guys, in the second, third, fourth, fifth round and, turned them into Pro Bowl players. Like, do that on defense. He can't do that on offense. And so, I mean, I just don't understand that strategy at all. Taking 3 defensive players in the first 3 rounds, like that's not going to help your offensive offense at all. Excuse me.
Mhm.
They took a kicker in the 4th round and a punter in the 6th round, and I'm like,
It got worse. It's like, could this get any worse? And Bill's like, hold my beer. I got you.
yeah, like
it was just
I,
like overtly like we're going to have the most boring, contrarian draft. It's like having a debate about who's the best rapper of all time, and someone strolls up and says it's just some dude who's on Spotify with like 3,000 streams. It's just like at some point it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, like, come on, Bill. Like this is the most ridiculous. It's just a total ridiculous draft.
yeah, yeah. It's really rough. So,
I do
um,
agree about the Jets too, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers brought his entire Packers team with him, so that's probably why they weren't going too hard in the draft. But their
yeah,
draft was underwhelming too, though.
I mean, you've got the Jets at least have the pass catchers. Um,
Lazard,
you got
Cobb, like they
yeah,
got the Rodgers,
you
Packers.
got the
But
Rodgers guys, and you've got Garrett Wilson, rookie of the year last year.
oh yeah,
You've got talent that you took last year, and you got uh, support there, um, and you trust Aaron Rodgers to be able to make magic happen. So you might you win a few more games, and you're really just kind of competing. You have enough to compete. Well, if it's not enough, it's more than what the Patriots have. The Patriots just like aren't going to be able to keep up with the rest of their division, and they'll be the last place team. And I really hate the Patriots draft. It's just head scratching. I
It
don't get it.
is. It's
Um,
very awful.
it
It's
was
like
really
going to
bad.
Popeyes and ordering just one biscuit. Just a biscuit, nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? It's so boring.
Yeah, it's I don't want to give them too much airtime, but it was really it was really really bad. Okay, um, now let's kind of put this all in a bow. Um, Pick one draft steal. So a player that you think is gonna surprise people or went later than they should have. Um, yeah, let's start with that. I'll let Lexi go first.
All right, so I'm gonna just have to be a slight homer on this one, just because I was just very shocked that Branch fell to us, especially when we had traded down originally, and like kind of the way that panned out, taking Gibbs, whatever, or not Gibbs, but yeah, Gibbs and Campbell first. I just was not expecting him to make that move. That move too was also what he needed to basically calm down the fan base. But I think it's an ultimate steal. I think he is a great player, and I'm very excited for that pick.
We've done a lot of talking about the Eagles, but for me, I'm gonna say the best steal was the best steal here, and it's to me Jalen Carter. He fits in perfectly with this defense. I think it's just a like like you said, Maxwell. People were legitimately mad that he fell to him,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a reason because he is in the perfect organization, the perfect defense where he can fit in, make an impact early, but also not be forced to do too much too early. So I think by far the Eagles getting Jalen Carter, unreal steal.
Yeah, I think those are both great picks. The answer that I want to say is, of course, Josh Downs. He went like he was like there was too many receivers taken ahead of him. He was awesome, um, especially the last over the last 2 years at UNC. Shout out to the Colts getting him. I think it's going to be a great pairing with Anthony Richardson. But I'll say my real answer, and that's Michael Mayer going in the second round, which is not that low, but um, I think the Raiders got to steal him and Meyer there. Um, I I I think I told you guys this in the group chat, but I mean I watched him at Notre Dame and he was like so dominant. Like Notre Dame's kind of known for having like you know, a physical football team, especially under Brian Kelly, like, physical and, they're so big with the gold helmets and everything. But I mean, I watched Michael Meyer and he just jumped off the screen every time. And I hated every time, like, he gets the ball, like, and he's going for a first down every time. I've never
Mhm.
seen anything like it. So, I know, like, um, you know, Kincaid and um, there's a lot of he was great at Utah and everything like that. I think he's going to be great for the Bills. Um, we'll see about the Sam Laporta pick right before him for Detroit, but I absolutely think Myers could be the best, one of the best offensive players to come out of this draft class. Come out of this draft class, I really do believe that. And the Raiders got a steal with him in the second round. So good for Jimmy G. Getting a weapon like him. Excuse me. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Kincaid going right before the Cowboys was hilarious, and it makes me happy. Just the total meltdown from Cowboys fans because they were like, "He's right there, it's perfect, right there," and then whoop, Bills got him.
Well, they passed on Myers, so like
There's
it
a great
was
number two sitting right there.
yeah, there wasn't nothing stopping them from taking him. So should be interesting for sure. Yeah, the Cowboys' reaction was hilarious. Like, that's it's just so funny watching the Cowboys these days. But I will say, I'll mention this if you haven't seen it. I'm sure everyone's seen it by now. But a great story with, I believe it was, I'm forgetting the kid's name, Deuce. I want to say
It's Deuce Vaughn
Deuce Vaughn.
from.
Yes, from Kansas State.
Yep,
Yeah,
I know him too well.
yeah, Deuce Vaughn, Kansas State, getting drafted by the team his dad works for. Seeing the video of that phone call from his pops was really cool. That was a cool moment for sure. One of the coolest draft moments I've ever seen. So that was really awesome. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. But all right,
If it
close
wasn't
out.
such a touching moment, I would make a joke about the Cowboys and nepotism and Jerry Jones, but I'm not going to do that.
Hey, all I know is this just another year proved that Jerry Jones is far too obsessed with Michigan because this is like the 20th Michigan player in like the last 8 years that they have drafted. So,
Oh yeah, Mozzie Smith. Yeah.
well, and Shoemaker. And I mean, don't get me
Oh yeah,
wrong, that's like, but like, it's such a Jerry pick. Those are always such Jerry picks, like every
that's so
time.
funny. Um,
He likes
yeah,
himself
that's.
a Michigan man.
Clearly. So do the Bengals and the Niners. I mean, it was just like Michigan going everywhere.
Well, I'm surprised that the Cowboys actually didn't go um receiver either, but
Yeah, I'm sure. I thought they would.
there were like a lot of the top guys taken by the time they went. But all right. Last but not least, let's talk about the one draft winner in the entire NFL. So, who was the one team that you guys feel like won the entire NFL draft?
I mean, I know we talked about them again and again. And I just have to keep saying the Eagles. You know, I said
Yeah.
it earlier. Just to reload in the capacity they did it with an already extremely strong team. Jalen coming off of getting that bag and you know and making that money. So you know they got the pieces too to protect him a little bit and you know pieces to build on the offense. All around, it's just a great draft.
Yeah,
Kind of annoyed with it, but it was good.
it's the Eagles. They kept it simple. When you're as good as they are, and you know sometimes you have to stretch and all this, and the fact that the league didn't make them stretch, they took the easy ones. All of these guys that perfectly, fell perfectly into the Eagles system, which I feel like is, I mean, they were just no brainers, and they got a lot better. And they got better. They got younger. What's not to like about that Eagles draft? It was absolutely unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Eagles probably the best choice for overall winner, but we mentioned it before. The Texans would have to, if I had to give a different answer, I would say the Texans, just because again you're in a position where you know you gotta you're in a rebuilding mode. We've talked about in previous shows how well they did this offseason and some of their pickups, and now to go out and get possibly if Will Anderson becomes what everyone thinks he is going to be, possibly the best defensive player in the draft, and you never know. CJ Stroud might be the best quarterback in the draft. And they were able to get both of those guys with their two picks. Obviously, trading back up to three cost them, and we'll see how that all pans out. But I thought the Houston Texans had a smart strategy in drafting both of those guys um, with their top two picks. Um, they got Tank Dell in the third round right out of their backyard from Houston. They got some offensive line help, and you know the pick for the linebacker from Alabama, Tototo, um, was also could also be a pretty good pick for them too. So I think
Round
the Houston,
5 too.
yeah, I mean Houston across the board did really well. I think. So yeah, if I had to give another answer besides the Eagles, I would say the Texans for sure. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's our draft recap. Um, next year it's in Detroit, so
Yes, I
party
can't wait.
party
I'm
at
gonna be on
Lexi's
Woodward.
house.
Yeah.
party at Lexi's
I
house.
live
And then
20 minutes from Detroit, so I am set. Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I'm excited. I gotta make that trip so I can see Drake May get drafted in person.
Yeah, you for sure do.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But no, good draft. And moving ahead, folks, we said we would give you guys sort of a preview of what you can look forward to from now until football season starts, because obviously kind of slow news in the NFL moving forward. Um, we're gonna take some time off on our own. Obviously, we'll have stuff, so you may not see a show every week, but we're gonna definitely try to provide as much content as we can from now until the start of football. I think training camp, week 0, college football, whichever kind of comes first. But essentially, what we're gonna do is do a preview of every division in the NFL and every conference in the Power 5 conferences in college football. So it'll just be like an overall preview of, like I said, every division in the NFL. So from the NFC North to the AFC West, whatever, all 8 divisions in the NFL. We'll bring experts and some of our friends on who are fans of other teams to help spice it up a bit. And we're just having fun talking about and previewing each division leading up to the season. And then the same thing for college football. Talk about the Power 5, each conference, bring on guests, get you guys ready for football season. And that is the plan. So that's what you can expect to see from the Weekenders up until the 2023-2024 college football and NFL season. So I don't know about you guys. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Me too.
I'm pumped. I'm ready to talk about some college football again. This NFL stuff has been fun, but I'm over here just scrapping and clawing and doing my best.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, you're doing great. I think the draft is better because it's sort of that bridge between like college and NFL, so it's a little easier to sort of combine the two. But
it's like I know these guys.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that's our show. Bobby, Lexi, great job once again. Audience, we'll see you guys again soon.
See you guys.
I think the audience did a great job. They did an excellent job.
Yeah, thanks, audience.
You guys get an A+.
Bye.